Hello, friends. It's good to be with you. As always, I hope this finds you well. Today, I want to talk a little bit about how we're thinking about approaching the fall here at St. Philip Deacon and the beginning of our program year. And I guess I would start. I had a conversation last week with a couple of dear friends from St. Philip Deacon, longtime members, about sort of the last year. And one of the things we all agreed on, without any question, was that this year has stunk. And I want to start with that. 2020 is not how any of us anticipated it. When we had to suspend in-person activities in March, I certainly had no expectation that it would be continuing now 5 or 6 months later. And so I start with that. This stinks. The fact that we can't get together or haven't been able to get together for the last few months is hard. I know all of us miss the fellowship that we have, the opportunity to gather, to see our friends in the normal ways. And I think that's the other thing I would mention from that conversation. One of the people I was meeting with said, "I just wish everything could be back to normal." And then she said very quickly, "But I know it can't." And I thought it was a very honest and truthful statement also about where we find ourselves this year. We have been talking as a staff, we've been talking as a council, we've been talking with our executive team. Just today I was on the phone again with another friend who's a pastor of a large Lutheran church here in the Twin Cities, and I've been staying in touch with a lot of those churches. We've been reflecting on the plan we put together earlier this summer, which I would say is still in force and in operation. And we have determined that as we enter the fall, we are going to continue our current pattern of a single live stream service at 9:45, which is available to anyone, obviously. And in fact, we got an email this past week from a couple in California, I hope you're watching, who was grateful that they had found us through the internet and happy to be worshiping with us. So we're going to continue that. We are doing small baptisms, we're doing small funerals, we're doing small weddings, and we are absolutely finding ways for small groups. I'm thinking here particularly of our high school students, also outdoor events. We've had our fishing retreat, we have our Habitat for Humanity event coming up. So there are going to be opportunities for us to come together in small groups, and we are going to continue to figure out how we can be creative about that as we get into the fall. And of course, we're going to pay attention to the signs and make sure that we can come back together as soon as we feel like it's responsible and faithful. I will bring us back to when we started back in March. The very first podcast I think that I did, I talked about Martin Luther, who wrote during a time of plague in his own life about sort of the considerations, the way to think about how as Christians we should behave. And you may remember the fundamental thing he said in his own writing, again, about a plague in his own life, was everything needs to be informed by a Christian love of neighbor. And that was supported, you may remember, by 3 subpoints. First, care for the weakest and most vulnerable. Second, paying attention to the best medical advice. And third, taking no unnecessary risks. I know there are some churches who are experimenting with very small gatherings, but I have talked to most of our peer group churches, and most of us are in alignment that getting together for worship would, right now at least, be an unnecessary risk. And for that reason, we feel like it is, again, the responsible and faithful way forward to continue our current pattern. I know this will disappoint some people. If you're one of those, I absolutely invite you to reach out to me. As I said at the beginning of this, I agree with you. It stinks. It's not what we were looking for this year, and we're anxious to get back together. Hopefully that will be soon. It won't be this fall right away, at least. And so I would encourage you to continue to worship with us virtually. Look for other ways. We are trying to find ways to bring people together. And please, 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 I would encourage you to continue to keep not only St. Philip the Deacon, but this whole circumstance, this whole situation in your prayers. We all need them. As always, I'm grateful for your time. Be well, stay in touch, and God bless.